The title of my study is A Study on Telecollaboration focusing on pre-service ESL teachers training. My name is Nina. Telecollaboration in my study refers to an activity where people from different places work together to achieve a certain goal. The goal of the program that I'm going to study is focusing on pre-service ESL teachers development. And the pre-service ESL teachers here in my study are student teachers from the Autonomous University of Barcelona. As an introduction, we know that computer-mediated learning program is growing all around the world. We know that social networking program is no longer a new thing, and a lot of people know how to use Facebook and Twitter and how to chat and all of those things. As a result, distance learning is more and more common recently. For language teachers, this phenomenon means more opportunities for them to connect not only to the speakers of the language they teach, but also to the culture of the language they teach. And they also have the opportunity to share knowledge with other teachers who are teaching all around the world. For pre-service language teachers, this development of technology will enable them to share problems and ask for questions to experienced teachers and education experts. The program that I'm going to study will involve tutors from Ohio University and tutors from the Autonomous University of Barcelona. These tutors, they just finished an online program with University of Georgia, which prepared them to teach the actual classroom as an addition of their training program that has already been going on with their own university. And the research questions of my projects are: how do the tutors of the program give feedback to the tutees? And then the second one, how do the tutees respond to the feedback given by the tutors? And then the third one, what problems did the tutors and tutees encounter during the program? The aims of my program is to see the communication that happened between the tutors and the tutees and the problems that they encountered during the program. The justification of my study is that, as we know, distance learning is a growing area. However, there are not many studies that focus on online ESL teacher training program. The previous studies that I read talking about different types of communication that happened, but only about the type, not really what they are talking about and how the participants trying to negotiate meaning. And the next study that I read talking about the cultural differences, but again they don't really discuss what really happened in that communication process, and they don't really talk about pre-service teachers and tutors. References that I'm going to use are Bells and Muller-Hartman 2003, which is talking about the cultural differences. Delvino and Persico 2007, which is talking about the different techniques in teacher training. Im, which is talking about synchronous and asynchronous communication for online discussion for pre-service teacher training. And then the last one, Wang, Chen, and Levi 2010, which is talking about teacher training in a synchronous cyber face-to-face classroom. The participants of the study are pre-service ESL teachers from the Autonomous University of Barcelona. They just finished an online training program with University of Georgia, which focused on preparing them to teach the actual classes. So when they are doing this program, they already teach the actual classrooms. And the next participants are 4 tutors from Ohio University who are second-year graduate students of Applied Linguistics program. The data gathering, I'm going to collect the logs of the online communication, both asynchronous and synchronous, and I'm going to analyze the reflection that tutors and tutees are going to have at the end of the program, and I am going to conduct interviews with tutors and tutees at the end of the program. The procedure, as I have mentioned before, the tutees were prepared to teach actual classes through online tutoring program with University of Georgia as an addition of their training in their university. And for the program that I'm going to study, the tutees are going to send their videos of their actual classroom teaching to the tutors at OU, where the tutors at OU are going to give feedback based on the video. And then the communication happen after that. So they are going to discuss more about the teaching process. At the end of the program, the tutees and tutors write feedback or reflection on what they have done, how much they have been influenced by the program, and what they think about the program. The data analysis is going to be qualitative data analysis. I'm going to map the communication patterns between the tutors and the tutees and find out what areas that the tutees and tutors focus more, and also major problems that they encountered during the program. The expected findings, I expect to see how tutees and tutors ask for and give feedback, the way of asking suggestion, whether they are asking suggestion on specific problem in teaching, asking for general suggestion, let's say just asking what do you think of my teaching, asking for help related to language knowledge, giving feedback focusing on language errors, giving feedback focusing on teaching techniques, giving feedback using examples, giving feedback referring to a particular theory, and etc. I also expect to see the problems that they encountered during the program, the miscommunication, whether it's due to misinterpreting questions and feedback because of the different cultural backgrounds, different language proficiency, different teaching training backgrounds, lack of understanding of the teaching environments, or any other thing. Whether time difference interfere the communication between tutees and tutors, and whether problems related to the use of technology interfere the communication. Problems and limitations of the study. The tools used for conducting this program and this study and gathering the data might not work well. Let's say the internet connection, and then the programs that we are using, the tools that we are using might not work in the middle of the program. And then the second one, the time difference between Athens, Ohio and Barcelona, Spain might cause problem in finding time to do interviews with the tutees. And the last one, I realized that the participants and the environment of the study are very specific, so that we cannot make generalization of the bigger scope. Thank you so much. I'm waiting for your feedback.